Hey everybody, this is Kirsten here. Welcome back to the Balanced Vibes podcast. Today we're going to talk about all the things that you need to do if you are 40 plus woman and want to build muscle. Sometimes people think that this is not doable anymore. It's too late. Of course you can build muscle 20s and 30s. This is great, but after I hit 40, getting maybe into perimenopause soon, this is impossible. And I want to show you that it is not. You just have to do the right things. And honestly, the problem is that a lot of women don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. They want to do the things they think are better for muscle building that just are not. So I want to tell you today, what are the things that you have to do if you're 40 plus and you want to gain muscle? All right. Before that, I have something that I have to share. This is really important to me. So recently had a conversation with somebody who said, you know what, my doctor is telling me that I'm gaining weight and this is really bad for me and I should be starting, dieting and losing the weight. So give you a little bit of background. This person that I'm talking about also wanted to lose body weight and body fat when she came to me, but another one of these cases where we need to do a build-up phase first because her calories were about 1600. Not a healthy place. We just cannot start from there. So calories were about 1600. And I told her we have to increase your calories. And it means so much more than just eating more food, you guys. Everybody thinks and freaks out because, oh my God, it's more food. But what it does, it heals your metabolism, it heals your hormones, right? It speeds up your metabolism so that now when you get to a higher calorie place, then we can start cutting, you're going to get better results. So we started increasing and we are now at about 2000 calories. And I want her to get up to about 2200. This is where I see that is appropriate for her weight and height and activity level. So 2200 is the goal. Now, during that time, when we have built from 1600 to 2000, her weight has gone up about 3 pounds. Okay, 3 pounds. Is that a lot? Is that something to worry about? No, especially considering that the measurements are down 15 plus inches. So there's something like 15.25 or 15 and a half, right? Measurements are down more than 15 inches and weight is up 3 pounds. And now the doctor is telling her that you have to start cutting now, you have to go on a diet, blah, 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 all the same stuff that they always tell you. So now my question is, has your doctor ever told you about the difference between the fat mass and between the lean body mass? Every time when they put you on the scale, don't they just look at the number? They don't tell you anything what your body is made of. They don't tell you that you have this much lean body mass, muscle mass, and this much fat mass. Nobody does this. The only thing they literally see is the number on the scale. Maybe they look at the BMI too, right? So that's just, and based on this information to tell somebody what they should do next is just very inaccurate, and you can't take it to heart. You can't listen to it and go like, okay, my doctor said, just because he or she is your doctor who has very little metabolism and nutrition education, you cannot listen to that and start cutting because this is still unhealthy. So I want you to understand that if your measurements are down, especially in this woman's case, it's 5 inches from her belly button. Come on, this is a lot, right? And then the scale is up a little bit. This is not a place to freak out. This is not a place to start following your doctor's orders and start eating 1200 calories. By the way, the recommendations that some of the doctors give are just ridiculous. I've heard so many of them. They just tell you eat less and less and less. And a lot of those people who get this advice are already eating 1200 calories. How much less can we really eat? So this is just to tell you that if you need to work on your nutrition metabolism, work with a professional. And your doctor is probably not that professional. Your doctor is good at other things, but they're not good at giving you advice how to heal your metabolism and how to get sustainable weight loss results. So make sure that you keep that in mind and don't take this as a fact that now you have to do this. It's just crazy to me how often I see this. While we have to understand that there's certain processes that need to happen in the body for it to feel safe before we can start doing a calorie cut and get to the results that you want to get. And of course, you will get them. You just have to be patient and trust the process. I've seen this time and time again. It is so worth it to build the calories up, heal your metabolism, even if it means a little bit of weight gain. So what? You can do this. And later, you're going to see your body fat coming down so much better, and you don't have to even do anything extreme to get that. All right, so now that I got this big thing off my chest, I'm going to move on to the next topic, which is how to build muscle when you are 40 plus years old. And I'm going to bring you 8 points today that I really want you to listen to and take action and do these things. Don't only like, oh, okay, yeah, I know this, I've heard this somewhere else too, but I still don't trust this because it doesn't make sense. Just because you haven't maybe heard it frequently or don't believe this doesn't mean that it's not true. Why not to trust those who have worked with people like this for years, who have a lot of evidence that this works? Why not trust that instead of trusting this like a quick fix diet, burn 1 million calories a day type of thing, which never gives you sustainable results? And by the way, being in a calorie deficit all the time is not helpful for muscle gain, because your muscle needs some fuel, right? And this actually brings me to my first point. What do you have to do if you want to build muscle when you're 40 plus? Stop dieting for a little bit, right? So you have to figure out your maintenance calories and build your calories up gradually. Pretty much exactly what I described you in the when I started the episode, what I'm doing with this client as well. So build your calories up gradually. Don't jump like from 1600 to 2200. This is going to come with a lot of weight gain that you don't like, but do it gradually, build up, build up, build up, and then stay at maintenance. And how long you have to stay in maintenance to see muscle gain? Well, once you get to maintenance, you start seeing muscle gains already, right? Because finally you have fuel in your body. Finally, you've taken yourself out of that deficit, and finally you can have you can start seeing some real strength and real muscle. And so, stay at maintenance for a little while, see how that feels. Maybe you are a lifelong dieter and you've always been only thinking about how to get the weight down, how to be smaller. What if you change the story a little bit and see what can happen if you eat at maintenance and do good workouts, and how much muscle you can build in? Because I'm telling you, you cannot build muscle if you're in a deficit. You have to be at least at maintenance. And if you don't know what your maintenance is, you can get my guide. It's called Lean Ladies Calorie, Protein, and Workout Guide, and all the instructions are in there. So go get it. It is in the show notes. The second point for you, if you want to build muscle and you're 40 plus, is to use a progressive overload program. So that means that you have to, of course, lift weights, and over time you should be increasing the weights that you're lifting. Or if you cannot increase the weights, maybe you don't have heavier weights, then you should be able to do a couple more reps with a heavy weight again. So there are several ways to progressively overload, but you have to do it in some shape or form, and you also have to track your progress. So write it down. Let's say that week 1 of my program, I used 100 pounds for deadlifts. And then if I track properly and write things down, then I know that by week 3, maybe I was lifting 125. So this type of tracking is very important, because then you can see if you have been actually progressively overloading. And do the same program for about a month before you switch things up. This is exactly, by the way, also how my Train to Build membership is set up. 1 month, same workouts, then moving on to the next phase, not changing things all the time, and also tracking your workouts. The next thing that you have to do if you want to build muscle when you're 40 plus is that rest, not do intense workouts. So rest in general, very important, so that you recover, because your muscle building takes a lot of recovery, right? You are getting your gains when you're actually resting. And now I know so many people are tempted to, instead of sleeping in, go in and doing the 5 a.m. boot camp, just crushing it, sweating hard for 45 minutes to an hour, just really getting after it. And this is not a good idea, especially if you haven't slept enough. So I would say, instead of that 5 a.m. early class, sleep in, get like hour or 2 of more sleep, and then go lift weights, 3 days a week. That's all you really need. Don't do those intense workouts, which will really jack up your cortisol, because you're not sleeping, because you're doing too intense workouts. And don't even get me started with all the fasting and low carb thing. This is going to make things a lot worse. So get proper rest. The next thing that you have to do to build muscle 40 plus is to get at least 30 grams of protein with your breakfast. If you have never tracked it, start tracking it. See what you are getting right now. Sometimes I see food logs that show me that there's 5 grams of protein with breakfast. This is holding you back. It's holding you back big time, because maybe you don't eat breakfast at all. Maybe that 5 grams come from, I don't know, the cream in your coffee and a little bite of something that you're having. Some people don't have any breakfast at all, but if you're not doing it, then you're not giving your muscles any reason to grow. So you have to get at least 30 grams of protein with breakfast. If right now it's very low, let's say it's 10, well, okay, start with 20 grams and then build up to 30 grams. And overall total total protein that you get per day, it varies, of course, but I would say that most women need at least 100 grams a day to get some results. Most women, and this is a smaller woman, right, who needs 100 grams of protein. And it is hard at first if you're not used to it, but this is holding you back if you're not doing it. I promise you, this is holding you back. So once you start hitting it, people are getting great results. Okay, so the next thing, and this is my 5th point, is to tell the scale to I would say it. Okay, just fuck the scale. I was thinking, should I say, should not? Yeah. So if you're focusing on the scale too much, then you're not doing it right because you're letting it get into your head, especially if your history is always been like weighing less and tracking in order to lose weight, not in order to gain muscle, then it's going to mess with your head, right? So, for example, like I shared also in the beginning of this podcast, when we are letting the scale get into our heads and we're letting our doctors tell us that those 3 pounds are terrible that you gained, while actually we know that we have gained muscle and not body fat, then it's not going to, you're not going to get like, um, you're not going to see what you're actually building here because muscle weighs something. I always actually like to say that muscle is not like popcorn, right? It's not like just air. Muscle is literally a piece of meat, right? So now when you build muscle and they're getting stronger, your muscles are getting bigger, of course your scale will go up. It's natural. What did you expect? It's not air, it's not popcorn, it's literally a piece of meat, right? So when you grow that, your weight is going to be up. So screw the scale, don't look at it, right? All right, the next thing is to live a lifestyle that supports your hormones. And don't focus on blaming your hormones or fixing your hormones with some kind of like special things, like I have to take this and that. I'm gonna, like get so obsessed with fixing things. Just live a lifestyle that actually supports a good hormonal health. So I have talked about this in previous episodes too, that, you don't have to, like your hormones don't go out of whack without a reason. They go out of whack because you've been probably doing the following things: fasting, low carb or low carb days, couple of days a week, super high intensity workouts, lack of sleep. So these are the reasons why your hormones go out of whack. So live a lifestyle that supports your hormonal health, which are the opposite of things, right? Of these things I mentioned. Start eating breakfast. Make sure that you get enough protein, get enough sleep, do resistance training a couple of days a week, 3 days a week is plenty for most people. And you see that your hormones go to like start being more normal again, right? You didn't have to like fix anything big or major or take 7 million supplements. You just had to tweak your lifestyle a little bit. And this, for a lot of people, already gives them a lot of results. And when your hormones are healthier, of course, muscle building is going to be a lot healthier as well. The next point that I have for you, if you want to build muscle and you're 40 plus, is to focus on weights over cardio. Now, this is one of the biggest things that where I feel like I have to convince people because it doesn't make sense in their minds. Why would I lift weights and not do cardio if cardio burns more calories? But you told me that you want to build muscle, right? So for building muscle, we need to lift weights. And cardio, if you want to do it, sprinkle it in here and there, but don't make it a foundation. Don't make it a foundation. You're making a major mistake. And I think I've talked about it also before when I had a conversation with a potential new in-person client, training client. And she said, I need to do more cardio. I have to start with this right now. I could sense like a lot of this urgency. And I asked, why more cardio? And she said, well, I'm getting into menopause and things are not getting easier from here. And honestly, she's doing the exact opposite of what she's supposed to be doing, right? So if you're in menopause and you're afraid of gaining weight and not putting on muscle anymore, then adding on more cardio is the last thing you want to do. You don't want to do this. It's not very hormone friendly. Resistance training done in moderation, of course, and given that recovery is good, is way better for your hormonal profile too, which will then help you build muscle. All right. And my last point today is it's not about your age. Stop blaming your age. So if you listen to my podcast number 194, you learned how a client of mine lost a good amount of weight at 67 years old. So if you're thinking that you cannot do this because of your age, nothing to change anymore, too late, too late. This is not true. It's all about like what you are doing, how you're living your lifestyle, what ways you exercise, how do you choose to eat, how do you treat your metabolism, how much you focus on your health and recovery and sleep and recovery. These are the things that really determine what kind of results that you're getting. And I'm not saying that age is not making things a little bit harder. Of course, it can make things a little bit harder, but it doesn't make anything impossible. You can still get those same results. You just have to do the right things and not push back. You cannot be like, yeah, I tried this for like 2 weeks, didn't work. So let me go back to boot camps and cardio and fasting and not eating carbs. If you're not patient with it, you're not going to see results. Muscle building is actually a very slow process. And those of you who are afraid to, turn into like Arnold or something just because you lifted weights and ate a little bit of protein, this is not going to happen. Do you know how hard it is to gain muscle? If you've been working on this for a while, then you probably know how hard it is. And then you're not saying these things that, oh my goodness, I'm going to get like super buff and bulk up and this is going to be horrible. No, it's not going to be like this at all. So what most people want is like nicer curves and better muscle tone, as most people express this muscle tone. So these are things that you get from lifting. These are not the things that you get from endless cardio, endless boot camps, and not eating carbs. I'm telling you, you gotta eat your carbs. You gotta eat your carbs. All right, so this is it. If you want to build muscles and you are 40 plus, it is absolutely possible for you. And there are many, many people who have done this before you, and you can do this as well. It's not too late. It's not your health. It's not your hormones. You can do a lot if you just trust the process and do the things that I told you about today. If you need any help, reach out. I'm super happy to help you with all of it. All right, make sure that you join my Fit and Fuel Facebook group if you're not there yet. I go there do live video every single Monday evening, and also share other good helpful tips and tools throughout the week as well. So I hope to see you there. It's a really nice community. Love the people there. So I hope that you will join as well. All right. Thank you so much for being here today and listening. I will see you again very soon. Bye.